What's going on YouTube? This is Justin here at Picker Performance. It's been a while, but we're back. We're making a comeback. We're gonna go through what we've been working on and catch you up to speed. Let's get to it. So I have no clue where we left off. I'm pretty sure we were working on my car. So a little bit of update on my car over here. So for those of you who don't know, this is a 1988 Pontiac Fiero GT. It is the last year that they made the Pontiac Fiero, and in my opinion 88 was the best year. Gonna get some hate in the comments, but get over yourselves. Anyways, this is my first car that it was a father-son build, and we kind of just been going crazy with it. From the last video, I didn't have these wheels on it. These are CCW 3-piece wheels, and I do have a bead lock in the back. No, it does not need a bead lock. I've been asked that before, but I thought it looked cool, and here in the future I plan to put down some good power with it. So eventually it'll use it, but I'm pretty sure from the last video you guys know what the engine bay setup looks like. So it's a 5.3 liter LS4 with a built bottom end, stock heads with valve springs and push rods, trunnion upgrades. So simple build. It's run on a Harley Terminator X. It's got a VS Racing 7875. Makes good power. A lot of fun to drive. Alright, so we got a new build going on. This is a LS4. Started life as a 5.3 and it is bored to a 5.7. We got 1 through 7 pistons and rods in. This is the first time I'm using BTR pistons, so we're gonna give that a try. We got K1 connecting rods, Texas speed cam, double roller, timing chain. So this one, I think the goal is 1,000 plus. It's gonna be pretty crazy. And the plans is to make it to a K-series sequential transmission. Now we're working on putting pistons 2 through 8 together. And I don't know if you've ever done this before. It's a pain in the ass. You gotta get this like spiral spring clip in the piston. It is just, I don't know if they make a special tool for it, but it kicks my ass. But put you on a time lapse, show you how it goes together. Now we're going to work on getting pistons 2 through 4 in the cylinders, and we're going to gap the rings top and bottom. So we have the top ring, and we're going to gap it to 0.026, and the second ring we're going to gap to 0.028. And we do not need to gap the oil scrapers, the oil rings. I've never done it, haven't had any issues. But what I like to do is take the ring, and depending on your setup, you do have a top and bottom. It's hard to see, but there is a dot to mark the top. So I like to start with number 2. Put the ring in there. And then take a piston. get it nice and even all the way around in there. And I know this is going to need gap, but you can see that it has a little sliver in there. And the goal is to get that to our measurement that we want. So this one doesn't fit, you have to grind it down a little bit. I'll have to do that for every one. So they do make a special tool to gap piston rings, but we have yet to get one. And the way I've been doing it works perfectly fine. But I like to take a grinding with the cutoff wheel and just stick the edge of it in there and just take away a little bit at a time. You can't do too much. If you do too much, then you got to get another set of rings. So just take your time, take a little bit away, and get to that target measurement that you want. All right, so we got our first top ring done. See that gap? And feeler gauge is nice and tight in there. So that's what we want. And you definitely have to be patient when you do this. I got too excited and burned up 2 rings too fast, so we have another set coming, but definitely take your time. Alright, so we got our piston rings gapped. Like I said, I already messed up on 2 of them, so I'm only going to be able to put together 2 of these. But for the people that don't know, we have our oil scrapers. You get 2 of those, your oil ring, and then you got your 2 compression rings. It's been a while since I learned this vocabulary, so I can't remember exactly what these 2 rings are called. I know one's a compression ring. So your oil ring, can't tell if there's 2 in here or not. So you're gonna take one of your scrapers, so it's gonna go oil ring in the 2 scrapers here, compression ring, top and middle. So I like to insert one of them and just kind of rotate it on them. Then you take your oil ring, and these just butt together. They don't overlap or anything, just butt together, and you want to keep your spacing at least 90 degrees apart or 180. It can be a pain in the ass. This one's giving me some troubles here. Alright, so we got that. Put on our last scraper. Okay. And like I said, it's going to be hard to see, but just make sure your gaps are 90 to 180 out from each other. And you got to space your compression rings properly to these oil scrapers. But I'm just going to put them on for you guys to see, and then I'll space them off the camera. start the tip of it, and I like to just spin it on. Just like that. Then 180 out from here. Start the tip of it. Oh, this one's top and bottom. Alright, so top. And that's it. And then you just, like I said, space them properly, at least for your compression rings. I like to put them, you can see these gaps here, I like to put them at least 180 out from each other. And that's it. Alright, now we're ready to put these pistons in. So, got all the rings clocked how we want to. Now we're going to take our bearings, go ahead and put them on the rod. So, put that tang on the tang, and pop it right in there. And always use assembly lube. Nothing is worse than starting the engine dry. I mean, these LSs aren't like the old school engines where you gotta manually crank it to get oil pressure. So just help the oiling system. Put some assembly lube on there. Little dab, smooth it on there. Wipe it on your pants if you don't have a rag. There we go. So make sure you do put the pistons the right way. Don't want valves touching your piston. Sometimes you got to give it a little tap. And these are a lifesaver. These are I don't know how to explain it, tapered for this size piston instead of the older style that still works fine, that you put it around there and tighten it. This is so much easier. Put it in there and just plop the piston in there. Alright, let's go ahead and slap these rod bearings back on and get the rod caps back on and move on to something else. Alright, you know the deal. That cam stick in there. So this is a Texas Speed. Normally on my builds, I ran BTR. I think I've used a Texas Speed on my personal before. But this one is a stage 3 5.7 cam for boost or nitrous. For the guys that want to check it out, there's the part number. I did not mention that this engine is actually going to be twin turbo setup. It's going to be like twin 62s. And here is cam spec chart. So it's going to be a decent cam for 5.7. Should sound good, but these turbo cams don't have the most chop. Chop sounds cool, but if you got a lot of chop, it normally doesn't make a lot of power. So I'm excited about this one. I'm sure the customer is going to like it. So let's get it installed. Alright, so first step, putting the cam retainer plate on. And yes, I will torque them. Alright, we got our retainer plate on. We're gonna go ahead and pop our crank gear on. This is what actually spins the camshaft. So you got numbers here. You can actually advance the timing on it. I've never done it, so I always set it to 0. So just line up to 0 with our key there, and we're just going to tap it in, make sure it's seated all the way. And then we can slap on our timing gear for the cam. We also have our gear for the oil pump. It's got a key for it. Just slides right over. And once we get the oil pump in, the oil pump just slides and times with these little teeth here. And that's what spins your oil pump. Well, unfortunately, we're gonna have to put this engine build on hold till we get some more parts. We actually ordered a single bolt cam gear, and this cam is 3-bolt. So no big deal. We got some other stuff coming in the mail for it. So that's going to complete the first series of the engine build. But let's go ahead and look at some other stuff we've been working on. So this is another build we've been working on. It's for a customer with the name John Callies. He was a big part of the Pontiac Fiero. He was an engineer. I don't know his whole story, but you can look into him if you want. But this is his actually first Pontiac Fiero, and he sent it to us after meeting us in Pontiac, Michigan, and he saw my car, and he was very excited about it and said, "Son, build me one of those." So we got him a car, and he told us what he wanted, and this is what we've been working on for a little while now. So up front, we have the Pickard Performance control arms, tubular lowers, QA1 coilovers, and we got adjustable upper control arms. Got 2-piece Willwood rotors, AFCO calipers, Paul Hostler's sway bar. This thing is a beaut. And what this has that no Fieros came with from the factory is we integrated power steering. So it has electric motor and it's hydraulic, well, not hydraulic assisted, but it's got power steering fluid. But this is the first time we've ever put power steering in a Fiero, and it was not the easiest, but it fits in there pretty nicely. I had to make this crossbar and some tabs for it, but I think it turned out pretty well. So everything is brand new. This car is pretty much a brand new car now. You won't find very many Fieros that are this clean underneath. Let's just take it all in. So the engine setup is an LS4 and a 6070 automatic transmission. So on the back here, we have BC coilovers that I modified to fit the Fiero spindle, custom axles, Very nice, very clean, modified cradle, solid mount, paw hostlers, sway bar in the rear as well. Lot of AN lines. And this is also a turbo build and got the wastegate dump right there. But that's the underside of the car. Let's show you the top side. All right, so under the hood, well, doesn't have a hood on it right now. In the trunk, whatever you want to call it. This is the trunk actually. So we have an LS4, started life as a 5.3. John had engine shop that he works with, built him a gnarly 5.8 liter LS4, solid lifter cam. This thing sounds ridiculous. Should make 1,000 horsepower pretty easily, if you ask me. It's got Holley intake, upper and lower, TIC Performance air to water intercooler, Nick Williams throttle body, Motion Racework clamps, VS Racing 7875, I believe it's their Gen 3, newest one. V-band housing, like 1.01 or something, exhaust housing. But this thing is very clean. It came together very nice. I don't have the exhaust on it. Exhaust is sitting over here. I did make that. I'm very proud of it. One of the first TIG weld jobs, or at least full TIG welded exhaust jobs I've done, and super excited that I'm learning how to do that. But so this transmission, if you had to guess where it came out of, you probably wouldn't believe it, but it actually came out of an Acadia, GMC Acadia, Chevy Traverse. Electronic controlled transmission. Unfortunately, Holley does not communicate with these transmissions. So this has its own transmission control module sitting over here in the trunk, and it's actually got an electric shifter. So there's a motor in there that spins and pulls and pushes this cable, and it's hard to see in there. Made that mount there, mount the cable, but you just push a button. It's got park, reverse, neutral, drive, up and down shift, like they all do. But you push that, tells that what to do, and that's how it goes into drive and park. So this is what we've been working on here lately, and it's been a pretty cool build. Show you up front. This set of wheels for it. Very nice wheels. CCWs. So we have the water box up here for the intercooler system. Battery relocated up front. And like I said earlier, we put power steering on it. So underneath that box would be the power steering pump. And it's got a 3-core aluminum radiator that I modified. I cut the inlet and outlets out for a regular hose and converted to AN. A little bit nicer setup. Wish I would have done that on mine actually. And it's got the Pontiac Pegasus on it. Very nice. Shout out to Fred's wife. She did a great job on it. Very clean. This thing is pretty much brand new. And I mounted the power steering reservoir right there, and that would be where the manual transmission reservoir would be for the slave cylinder. And also I'm gonna put this out here. This is my new front cradle for my car. I'll probably end up making a whole build series on our front end kits, what we have to offer, what we're trying to do. But 2025, we're gonna be putting this in my car making some other changes that not a whole lot of people are gonna know. We're kind of keeping some secrets. But this is what Picker Performance is coming up with. And this is actually on airbags. So it's gonna have front and rear airbags. But this thing is looking pretty cool. So probably next couple build sessions, we're going to talk about this, how we modified it, and some of the other products we offer. So like I said, welcome back to Picker Performance. We're making a comeback this year. We got a lot of big plans for 2025 for my build, my brother's build. Maybe my dad will make his own personal build this year. But we got a lot of content. So check it out. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.